And tensions heating up across the Middle East this weekend as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu cancels a planned trip to Azerbaijan in light of the developments. Joining us now to discuss is Brigadier General in the Reserves Amir Avivi, founder and CEO of the Israel Defense and Securities Forum. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
So lots to discuss today. Let's start with Gaza. The IDF calling tens of thousands of reservists for an expanded operation. So first of all, why now? And what are the goals of this operation? What can we expect?
So I think the IDF is pursuing all the time three main goals. One is improving the defense on the towns along the Gaza Strip. We have to bring back people from kibbutzim like Faraza, which are really close to the border. And in order to do that, we need to push Hamas to the west towards the sea and secure the area. The other thing is mounting the pressure to bring all the hostages. It's crystal clear that Hamas is not pressured enough. They need to be pressured more in order to bring them to the point where they're willing to do a hostage deal without Israel needing to give up its goals of war, without giving up the mission of eradicating Hamas as a governmental and military entity. For this, we need to mount much more pressure. And of course, we are bringing tens of thousands of soldiers to really start conquering more areas in order to create really the terms needed to destroy Hamas.
And now let's turn to Syria. You know, we saw extensive Israeli airstrikes in Syria over the weekend and Israeli aid in helping the Druze who are being persecuted under the new regime. What is Israel's objectives in Syria, and could this escalate into war on another front?
I think that the overall strategy, not only of Israel, looking at it globally, the best thing that can happen is to see Syria breaking into autonomies, a Kurd autonomy under a U.S. umbrella, a Alawi autonomy under Russia, and the Druze autonomy under Israeli umbrella. This can create for Israel a buffer zone that is controlled by allies, by the Druze. They have 100,000 armed people on the amount of the Druze. And this can enable us to really have some kind of partner, proxy, if you will, that will work with Israel. Israel will help defending them, and they will push Julani forces from the areas south of Damascus. In this way, it can be a win-win. We need a partner inside Syria to help secure our borders, and they need our protection from this, I would say, ISIS, Al-Qaeda forces of Julani that are butchering them the way we saw in the last few days in the outskirts of Damascus. Terrible attack on the Druze community.
And finally, I want to discuss the Iranian threat. We're hearing reports of divisions within the Trump administration, sort of two schools, one that believes in a military option, the other in a diplomatic option. And it seems that with the removal of Mike Waltz, the latter are gaining ground. You know, are we beginning to see the first signs of a disagreement over Iran between Israel and the United States?
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's obvious that President Trump, in order to build legitimation, needs to have these diplomatic talks with Iran, try to really work out something that will make sure that they dismantle their nuclear sites. But the Iranians are not going to give up. They're not going to dismantle anything. They're not going to cede any capabilities. And I believe that in the coming weeks, will become crystal also to the, clear to the administration that this is not going anywhere. And then the discussions you are mentioning, Lidar, will come about. I mean, some say, you know, we better use Israel. You know, let's equip Israel. Let Israel deal with the Iranians. Why should we, the Americans, deal with this? And others that say, no, we are leaders. We need to lead an attack on Iran. This is not just about Israel. But I can tell you that in any scenario, Israel is going to deal with these nuclear sites. We are not going to miss the opportunity when Iran is weak and without proxies and moving towards nuclear capabilities to deal with this imminent threat. I'm hoping that we'll see the full support and the participation of the U.S. in this effort, because the Iranians are not going to give up their nuclear sites or their path towards nuclear capabilities.
All right, Brigadier General in the Reserves, Amir Avivi, thank you so much for your insights today.
My pleasure.
And speaking of Iran, there are reports of another explosion in Mashhad, Iran. This is a developing story, so follow ILTV for more details.